Welcome. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Quick to do a shout out there, but today we're actually live in an office in Guildford sorting out remote desktop issues. We're having some problems where we've got 3 users based here, that 2 of them are having sluggish connections into their virtual machines, which is based off site. But the other one seems to be running really nice and quick. So I've already been around to the machines. So take it on the live. This is live today. Live. This is happening. So that machine there connects in really nice and fast. So there's no problems with the machine as such itself there. There's no connection issues. It's like bang, bang, bang as it should be. Now this machine here tends to have a very slow connection. It takes 2 minutes for the desktop to be fully loaded up on the screen. So it's definitely a VM issue rather than a speed issue. It does have lacking a bit of disk space on there, but again, I've logged in with my own user ID with another VM on that machine. It just bang straight in there. So it's definitely a VM issue in itself. Here, this office, I've sort of helped out from time to time. It's got a switch downstairs, which is under the stairs, which is accessible that way round. You can't walk down it, you have to crawl down it. It's that small. Again, we're in Guildford. Hi, Mike. So that there's a switch downstairs that manages all these machines here. So we've got 2 PCs here. They've got VoIP systems here connected to it. It's a managed PoE switch. It's a 48 port. It's inherited from their old office, which was across the road, where they had a lot more users. So it's way more overkill for this building, but it's something they already owned for a while anyway. So, but it's 10 years old. So I thought that may be what the problem could be here, but obviously it's not the case. But I will suggest them to upgrade it. I mean, look at this. Look at this. It looks like a cupboard, but that goes all the way downstairs and it opens up underneath here. As you can see, you've got stairs coming up in here, but so it's underneath here. It's tall enough to go down, but this part here, literally, this is the headroom roughly you have going down. It's not a lot. You've got to get on your arse and actually bum shuffle down. So I'm trying to avoid to go down there if I have to, but at least I know it could be. Well, actually, let's move some of this stuff. I need to see if the switch is still running full power, because PoE switches have built-in fans. It's a 10-year-old switch, so the fans were designed to keep it cool while it's running. And I got a feeling, moving all the rubbish out, I got a feeling if I can't hear the fans from here and they're stopped, then that's going to cause a big issue a bit later on anyway. So I was suggesting saying we need a new switch no matter what anyway. But I can hear it. It's really noisy. Don't know if you can see down there. Got to turn the light on. That is how tight it is. But from here I can hear the switch really loud. Those fans is not meant to be audible. So that definitely needs replacing at some point anyway. So yeah, don't fancy going down there. It's a bit of a squeeze going down. So we'll leave that for another day. So work out that gone off. I think the light goes off also. Ah, it's got an automatic. Yes, goes off. Cool. So avoid that. So I'll put that back there. So I will suggest a new switch anyway. The switch is a very old HP switch, 10 years old, 48 port PoE. It's all PoE, all of it. So at the time when it was brought, it was about $2,000. But they had an office over the road that had 4 floors, full up with staff. Now they're down to like 3 staff here. So it was useful over there, but here it's different now. So yeah, HP's not too bad. I mean, 10 years and it's still running, but the fans are really the fans only kicking when it gets a bit hot because there's not much traffic on it. It's only got literally, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 phones here, IP phones. Only 2 I've ever used as they're using it, and 3 PCs tops. That's all they got here. So it's a bit of an overkill, and plus, yeah, I think we'll just get it replaced anyway because it's old. Right, let's go upstairs because I think upstairs they're having freaking on lights on here. It's a very old building. Look, it's quite a nice old building. So very warm today anyway. So yeah, yes, definitely an overkill. But trouble is they've inherited it from the other office. So back then it wasn't overkill, it was what they'd used. Because they'd desized down a lot, we just brought the IT equipment over. Because at the time there was no point replacing something that you recently had new then, but now it is worth replacing because it's old now. So yeah, so this is the upstairs. It's quite cool up here. We did have a sofa there at one point. I was just saying, wait, he's got he likes his art in here. Lots of art. You can see all around the room. I think these are really expensive. I think he paid 30,000 for this picture, from what I'm aware. So yeah, not going to say what business it is because it's private and I can't get that information out the internet anyway. So yeah, no, he's definitely not an art dealer. He collects these. I know the boss here quite well, and he collects these. And his house is very similar to here, but it's quite a nice office. It reminds me of here, an old doctor's surgery desk itself. But yeah, why are we chatting away? We're back. So up here we've got a small switch down there because we inherited all the internet connection, all the network here, which is a bit funny. I would have loved to recable it, but they didn't want to go for it. They just literally wanted to connect into what already exists in here. No, not estate agents, no, or accountants, no. Gonna get you guys guessing. So that's again, that switch very old. At some point that needs replacing as well, but I think the cabling needs bringing up because it's an old Cat 5 cable. It's not 6, it's not 7. But again, minimal users. And if it's working, why change it? That's what I say anyway. But yeah, so on this machine here, you've got an IP phone, and underneath the stand, just underneath there, very hard to see it, is another little PC. So we'll power it on, and we'll see if his connection's any slower. So we'll do this live on here. I've got no way to put the camera. I can't flick it on anything. So let's see if it boots up. It's powering on, yes. This is a bit slow. It's an very old PC. Doesn't have a lot of CPU speed to it. I think it's like one of these very old processors. Actually, I think it's a bit like a laptop processor, but I only have like probably like 1 or 2. Well, I don't think it's even 2 gigs on it. Let's have a look. What is the processor speed on here? I'm going to just kind of check. So it's loaded into Windows normal. So this is I'm not sure if it's an Intel. It's an Intel Atom. There you go, Intel Atom CPU, D2700, and it's running at 2.1 gigahertz. 4 gigabyte of RAM installed. But for running a remote desktop, it's perfect because it doesn't run any apps on it apart from Skype. That's the only thing I can think he's got on there, and that's about it. And it's oversized on the driver side. But yeah, so he's having a login issue where it's a slow login. Oh well, that's the old one. This is the new one. Got to connect the right one. So see if this works. Sorry, my phone's going a bit flat on battery. It keeps moaning about it. So connecting in. So it's taking a while to connect. I think it should be a lot quicker than this. Should connect a lot faster than this. So this could be another issue. Could be not be the same one downstairs, because the one downstairs is faster than that. The window opens up, but then it takes a long time to log in. This one seems to be the same, but it's not even connected to the server yet. So I don't know whether it's having internet issues or not. Oh, there we go. It's connected now. So say yes. There we go. So that opens the window up. Oh, it's an other user. That's strange. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be logging in with his own login credentials. Oh, I think yeah, I don't think it's connected into his desktop properly. So what's going on here then? So okay, just have a look at the quick nose here. Oh, it's using his user ID. It's using the correct port number. Okay, reconnect. Try again. So this could be a different issue because it is a lot slower. It might be the PC because this PC here is old and it's a bit sluggish and slow. It was sluggish and slow when I brought it. It was a second-hand one, again inherited from another user they had. So it's not a brand new one. But again, it's taking a long time connecting to the connection here. This upstairs has always been a bit funny. Again, these plug into the back of the phones and then tally off the phone connection downstairs. So it could be the switch downstairs that's causing the stuckness, because this should be a lot faster than this. It takes a while to see it. Interesting. I might have to go downstairs and turn the switch on and off, because it hasn't been switched off in, God knows, years. Because I've never told them to ever switch it off in the past, and they never go downstairs. They just store files down there. So the only time they ever go down there, if they've got a slow internet connection, I get them to reset the router. If I turn it off and back on again, that's the only time they ever go down there. But they never reboot the switch. But I'm frightened if I reboot the switch whether it dies or not, because I haven't got a spare switch with me to replace it with at the moment. But then this is painfully slow, because like you can see, it's not even actually initialized the actual connection yet to the server. So I'm going to do a speed test to see what the speed connection up here, whether it has got a proper internet connection or not. Well, Microsoft Page is loaded, so it has definitely got internet connection, so at least. So we'll do a speed test anyway. Because downstairs they connect straight downstairs into the switch. Up here, the cable is a bit funnier. Had issues in the past. Oh, what's it doing? Speed test .net. Very useful tool. So I'll try again. Well, it's loaded. I'm just going to click on the go. God, I hate Microsoft Edge. That's a horrible browser. Oh, I didn't realize it's got Chrome on there. Should be using that. Oh, we're going to use it. This is painfully slow, even on the web browser. So Chrome, there we go. Open Chrome up. Right, Google loads. So speed test.net. The internet connection here is good because I'm on wireless here, which connects straight to the BT hub downstairs. So we know the internet's good because we're streaming. So I'm hoping my audio is good and hoping it's not too fuzzy your end. I can't tell whether this is actually streaming really nice or not. But only you guys can tell. So if you want to send me a quick comment and say, yeah, I can hear you fine and it looks good, then that'll give me an idea whether the internet is here okay. So running the speed test now, BT. Yeah, his machine is really slow. Then we're going to get him to upgrade. I mean, he's had this machine for years. So, oh, he's got different speed results up here. So we've got a 62 millisecond ping, which is really high. Downstairs we got 7. This is hardwired. It's not on wireless. It's hardwired into the switch, like the ones downstairs. And he's only getting like 11 megabyte download. And it's not even showing an upload speed. So it's pants. So that's probably why it's hanging so much. This is interesting. So, yeah, there you go, it's hardwired in with the cable. The wireless on it's turned off. I remember I've set it up before. Goes into, oh no, his one connects directly to the switch upstairs here. Because the ones downstairs connects into the back of the phones. So his one goes off. So he's got a port on the wall there with his phone separate. And then it's patched through to here, down here, which is PC, and his phone goes directly downstairs into the other switch because it has to run PoE because it requires a power. Oh no, his phone. No, it's correct. I forgot because ages since talking about years since I set these up. It's got to be more than 10 years ago when I set this system up here. No, his phone actually has its own power. Where the ones downstairs are PoE. That's right. So yeah, so his connection here going downstairs, it's pants. So I'm thinking definitely, let's try again. Loads alright, but it's, in theory, it's like been on. His PC is a bit like having connected to a mobile phone. So it's like That's probably what I can explain the speed testing. Yeah, it is slow. Trying to see if I can see your comments, guys. Top chats, live chats, all messages visible. There we go. No more. Can you do a video about the business center setup? Yes, I can do that. I'm working on lots of videos. I want to get out to business centers because business centers over the years have really changed on their IT infrastructure. And it's changed rapidly different to what it was like 10 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how they run. I'm trying to get some behind the scenes interviews with data centers to go in and see how data centers are run behind the scenes. I mean, I've used to be in data centers most of my life, in and out, configuring, setting up servers. I even hosted in a data center, 2 in London, and then I moved my system over to Stevenage because their pricing was better. And then when I went to Airport House in Croydon, I built like a mini data center inside their offices, and we had a gigabit lease line installed because we was actually building it out as a data center. So now I moved all my equipment from Stevenage back to Croydon and hosted it there. It was absolutely fantastic. A gigabit of lease line connection that you own, you don't share anybody else, was really fast. It was so fast I couldn't speed test it anywhere because most servers on speed test were only up to 100 megabits at that time, so I couldn't actually fully test it, but it was fast. Downloading lots of stuff. A lot of servers at that time I was hitting, like downloading stuff, were hitting ones that are on like a gigabit connection. So you would always maxed out about 100 meg at a time. You can never sort of like fully appreciate the whole speed unless you found another server that was sitting on a full-fledged gigabit pipe as well, to be able to see how fast you can download big files. But no, it was amazing. It was absolutely brilliant. Why not see the messages? Have you any experience with OSP, MP? Remind me what they are, because I've not been working in IT for quite some time, so all these like bits I'm forgetting about because I'm doing lots of other videos. Still know my stuff, but I've been out in the IT world for quite a while, so yeah, this is definitely poor. So I'm trying to work out where we go for a switch change downstairs and a PC up here. Because downstairs seems to be fine, just upstairs is a bit poor. I'm going to test his VM out when I get home. He's a routing protocol, open shortest path first. I haven't really delved into like details. I mean, my main as IT was fault finding, reinstall Windows, reinstall server software, patching, supporting the server side. When I went to Airport House and stuff, I kept and looking after clients, I try to keep the networks very simple, because if it makes it too complicated, then obviously it'll cost them lots of money to implement. Especially if I moved away, someone else took over, it means they would have to implement expensive people to maintain it. Even when I was dealing with VLANing and things like that at data center in Airport House, we VLANed a lot of the rooms off on their own. So I did all that side. So I kept that simple and basic. Instead of like going to, there's a lot of stuff you can do on the switching, especially the switches we brought in, level 3 switches. There's a lot more you can do to it, but I kept things simple. And plus me maintaining it would mean that if it got too complicated, when you're dealing with IT and you've got clients, it's not an everyday thing you go back and do. So you've got to remember those things. If you don't do things like every single day, then you forget stuff because you're doing other stuff as well. So when you go back and revisit something you haven't touched for like 5 years, it's like, what was that? It's like relearning it again. So I just try and keep things simple. Find a simple solution that's going to generate like less. Again, complicated can be more harder to fault find stuff, issues with. So keeping things simple is nice, easy. Changing cables out, changing the switch, keeping the configuration nice and easy. Saving those configuration files for next time, just in case something goes wrong, and reload them. So it's just making life easy. And trouble is, contracts come and go. So handing over to the other person that had no skills, it was much easier when you had a simple network solution where you implement too much difficult means you have to sit with them, go through and train them. Did that at the airport house for a while. It was simple setup. It worked and it was secure. When I left, they wanted me to come back and train another IT company that should have just picked it up, but they weren't. So I had to spend 2 days consultants showing the ropes. You know, when the contract comes to an end, you just want to move away and not worry about it. Let them get on with it at the end of the day. Yeah, so it was a bit difficult. So, yeah, and it was pain in the backside. So I don't know why they called me back to do it. They just left me on instead of trying to train somebody up. It would be interesting to see what VLAN configuration design went with Business Centre. Yeah, what we did in the Business Centre, we had multiple rooms, which is then multiple offices. Now, I wanted to run all the cables directly back to the comms room. So, but that would mean laying too many cables from each of the rooms, especially if you didn't know how many desks are going to be in there, because every room would be configured separately. To keep things simple, the best thing was to do is install a small rack cabinet up on the wall, which we did. Every room had a rack cabinet on the wall. It's only like it's a very short rack. I can't remember. It's about, I think it's like 6, 7, maybe 10 U's. So it's a small one anyway. It was enough to install a small little router, a switch for the local area network, and a patch panel that we can put around the room. So that means we can reconfigure the room really simple, laying cables. So if the room needed like 5 people in or 6 people, it's very simple to lay the cables in, get it configured, get it set up. We had, then we run like what we call 4 cables to each room back to the comms room. So that was like your internet connection, your VoIP phone connection, and then 2 spare. So if the customer decided they wanted to split the rooms into 2 different separate businesses and have them separately, we can then use the extra spare uplinks back to put an extra router in place so we can keep things separate. So it was easy it was simple. It was a simple solution. All of them had 4 cables going back. If a cable went along the way, went faulty, something happened, then at least we had 3 to play with, so we didn't have to relay cables. So that was the last thing we wanted to do. Once we laid the cables, that was in. So and it saved time if we had to go back and lay another cable. If they decided they want to join the rooms together, it was easy enough to split the rooms up or put them on the same network. So it made life easy having those uplinks put in there. And then each room we can literally just cable out to the client's requirements, and they'll be in there for 2 years. Then another client will go in and say, I've got like 13 users. Then we can just easily relay the cables, move the ports around the room, retrunk it if we had to. That was much easier that way around. So the VLANs we did, so each room was a complete network on its own. So the uplink cables that go back had on different VLANs. We had a VLAN for VoIP, and we had a VLAN for just the internet going into that room. Now, the internet cable went into a small router that was their firewall, so that way they was isolated off our network completely. So we had a firewall there, and we had a firewall at our end. So there's we didn't want rooms to see each other, but having the uplinks cables also allowed us to link rooms together. So if one so let's say a customer said, I want to take that room up, but we're expanding now, but we want another room, but we didn't have the room next door to them available, we can give them a room upstairs, downstairs, no matter where the other room was. We could then link both of those together using the uplink cables and create one network. They can both see their servers, and that worked really well. The router that we got given, which it's a 24 port router, data center style router on the back of our connection, and we VLAN'd them off onto different switches, so only the switch would see each of the VLANs. Then we speed ported, so each port on the switches had different speeds, so we could set broadband type speeds for the end user. So if we wanted to set, like, I know, a centi meg up and 20 meg down, we could do that. If the customer wanted a different speed, I know, like 30 meg up, 10 meg down, we could change that on the port. So the port did that. And that was quite easy to do. And we did a package deal saying that if for any reason you were like, I don't know, if there were like a graphics design company, end of the month, they need to upload all these files to their printing company or to another company or something, they could easily just phone us up and say, we need 100 meg for a couple of hours. We could just log into that port, open the switch up to the 100 meg, and they had that burst for that period of time. Then we could just then log in, change it back to normal. so we can then charge them just an additional fee for that. But then we can then give them all different types of speeds and options when they come to us. We might have like 2 users that only want 10 meg up and 5 meg down. We could do that. We could even set the connection ratio, so that if they wanted like a full DSL where it's 1-on-1, so it's like 10 meg up and 10 meg down, we could do those as well. We could simulate lease line type speeds as well as ADSL type speeds. So we had a whole variety. That was simple. We had a Cisco router in the cabinets that managed the VMs and know where the traffic went to the rooms. So it was like absolutely awesome. I didn't install, because I was so busy with managing the cable installations, changing the rooms up. I hired a Cisco guy in to configure those Cisco routers and the switches to be all VLAN off. And then I learned from him afterwards what set up was, so that I could then reproduce that if we expanded, which we did. We expanded rooms, we brought in more switches, more firewalls. I reconfigured them off the fly, so it's quite nice and easy. So initial setup was actually, we hired a Cisco guy to do it. Awesome guy. I saved the configuration file as well, so I can then duplicate that another one to just speed stuff up, because my time there got so busy. First of all, they got me involved in resetting it all up. Then they said, we want to buy some of your time. So I still had clients to look after as well. So they brought 80% of my time. So I had 20% of my time to my other clients. So that would give me sort of like a day or two with my clients, the rest with Airport House themselves, which is awesome, because the contract was really nice. The contract was like good money. Still see my other customers and make money as well from them too, and it worked out really well for good 4 years or so. It was really nice. We sold rack space, and we had a guy come in with he wanted to install satellite dishes on the roof, which is perfect. We allowed him to do that, and he stuck on a platform so it wasn't screwed into the roof. It was safely installed on these special platforms, way down quite heavily, so the wind wouldn't blow them away. And they got all these different cable signals from all these different channels, goes into their servers. They had half a rack of servers, and then that will go out over the internet to all different countries where people will pay up. It's a bit like a Netflix subscription. There's their own version. Lots of foreign different TVs, and I think it was serving the Asian community, so went off to them as well in the UK as well as abroad. And I did quite well out of that. And obviously Airport House made lots of money out of it too. So it was awesome bit of setup. Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed my time there. But anyway, I should be getting on with this. Yeah, so this PC is pants. It's it needs. Can we actually make a connection? That's the thing here. It's going in now. But it's connecting as other user. That's what I don't get. It should go in as his name. Can wait to connect in, because this is slow. So he's definitely got an issue with his VM on this one, as well as his desktop. I think this needs all redoing. New switching, definitely new switches. I'm not gonna worry about the cabling. He needs a new PC. It's definitely itself, because it's a bit pants. He can't work like this. This is like, look, still trying to log in. Which is not right. Eventually logs in, but so. Other users in Windows 10 is just a general thing on domain networks. It usually intershades and says that. Yeah, we know the domain never ends simple. It's a simple thing. It should just connect in, but it's connected to other user for some reason. I don't know what's going on this end. But when I get back, I'm going to remote connect it on my machine to the network and find out what's happening to his VM. Because each user here connects their own VM on the network side, the other side in the data center, and they connect using their own physical ports. So they can't use other ports, and each VM will only accept that user to log in on it. Won't accept any other user to log on it. Normally, sometimes when it says other user, normally it means it's logging into a corrupted profile on the domain. it's still still slow. Still waiting for it. So there's not much I can do here actually. Might have to do more when I get back anyway. Normally it just logs into the user. When this is working correctly, like downstairs, when you double click on it, it goes in, shows the login screen for about a second, then Windows loads, it goes straight on. But this is really slow. The one downstairs was the same as well. So I think the VM is corrupted. I think maybe corrupted. But I've got a spare one they can log on to anyway to get around this. But because this worries me with the other user, it normally means the roaming profile on his machine is corrupted, and it then gives other user. So it creates like a temporary profile. We're logged in now, so he's obviously got it open. So if we minimize it down, we can check to see if actually he's logged in with his own user profile. Because when you go under Windows and go into, the VM's running really nice and fast because it's responsive, really responsive. Connecting to his network drive is almost instant. So there's no problem, it's just initial login. So I had problems before when I moved the VM to another box. I had a domain trust issue. So it could be still having that itself. So if we go to is C drive, his C drive's not showing. There's definitely something going wrong with his VM because it's not showing the C drive. It should show his C drive. I can't see it, it's hidden. It's like it's hidden. Oh, I know why. I've done it in the profiles. I hidden his C drive in the profiles so he couldn't go roaming on it. So I can get to it by manually going to open the window up. So I'm on it now. So he's, yeah, it's showing default user 0. Oh no, that was, no, he is logged into his own profile. Yeah, once he's on it, it's quick. It's just initial load. So I need to look at the log files and the event log as well and go through to see what the problem is. But I'm going to log in with his user ID on my machine back at home, which is back in Camberley, to see if it's a slow login as well. It should be. So if it's definitely a VM issue, it should be a slow login for me on his user ID, and then at least I can then know what I'm looking at and can easily fix it anyway. So it's not a problem. But yeah, the initial login is absolute pants. I can see it, but once he's in there, it's nice and fast. I've just come out of it now. I'm just going to reload it again and see if there's any quicker second time round. There you go. Its name's now on it, which is what we should be seeing anyway. Yeah, it could be the connection PC, that's what I was looking at. But when I log in with my user ID, because we had the same problem with this one downstairs, it was instant, went straight in. So it's definitely a VM issue because it's exactly the same we're having with the user downstairs. But the one downstairs, I did log in my own user ID and my own port number, and bang, I went straight in. So we definitely know it probably isn't a PC issue. I can probably set my profile up on here and log in with it as well. But let me see if I can do it. Actually, I'll do it. Come on. Right, I had a test one here. I think edit. Oh, it's not the wrong one. Get on back up. Go back. Remember what my port number is. There you go. Found my port number. Type in my user ID. Right, it's prompt for my password, which is normal. I expect that. So I'm just going to type my password in. I don't think it was that. I can't remember the password now. Oh, no, I typed the password wrong. It's the other one. Okay, right. So just go and click OK. Click OK. That's normal. Click yes. Bang. Bang. In. That's how fast it's meant to be. So it's definitely not an issue here. It is VM definitely. So that's 2 of them with VM issue. So because now I'm in my own remote desktop, which is like it was in like a few seconds, so a lot faster. So you come out of that, make sure his other one's still set up correctly. 'Cause I can't remember what his password is. Just says check in. Yeah, that's fine. Trying to remember his password, because I asked the password now. I should remember it. What is his password? I know it's like, should have them written down. It's yes, found it. I remembered it now. I know it was weird. Need to set that for him so when he comes back, he doesn't say, well, I don't know what my password is. There you go. So that came in a bit quicker. While I'm on it, actually, I'm going to check the task manager, see if it's not like got issues with some of the processors or something like that. You know, performance. I mean, the Unraid server's got a 4 gigahertz processor in it, it's sharing it. It's only using a single core off of it, and it's 4%. Memory's at 2 gig, and it's got 4 gig signed to it. And disk drive C is on sort of like 1%, 0%. So it's not using a lot of resources. So could. So, I mean, I'm gonna. What I might do then in this, I might build 2 more VM machines, get them set up for what they have, their software. You know, standard stuff. It's like Office, Outlook, Word, Excel. One of them uses QuickBooks, so we'll reinstall QuickBooks, and then we'll reassign them with some new port numbers and see how they get on with that one. Then we'll delete the other one off. I think it was causing it, but I think his machine here definitely needs replacing. So we'll definitely say to him, look, buy a new machine and a new switch as well downstairs, and then at least I know them for they're good for like next 3 years at least anyway going forward. So yeah, so I'm happy with that diagnose. And update shutdown. It's got some Windows updates on this. I'm gonna have to sit through that. So I know he'll come in the morning. Oh, it's not working. Trouble is, when you tell user you've been in and do some nice stuff, then anything goes wrong, they blame you for it. Nice Yellow Link phones. What are they using? PBX. Now these are BT phones. They are. I don't know what make they are. Oh, they're T46Gs. Got a BT logo on them. They're VoIP. So BT manages the rest of it. We just plug it into the PoE switch here to get the power off of it. We have to open a thing on the BT hub, and then they do the rest, and they configure it remotely. So we don't manage the rest of it. It's just one of those managed systems by BT. They phone up and say how they want the calls to ring, how the call diverts go on, and things like that. They deal with it. Yeah, I think it is. BT does a lot of rebranding with crap. Before, when I was in the other office before, BT installed a MyTel phone system, because that's basically what we had at the business centre, or in Croydon. We had a MyTel system there. Now the one in the business centre was massive. We had, I can't remember now. I know we had over 200 ICN phone lines coming in, so that was plumbed into the system. We had, I think, 6 boxes of analog connections, because when we took over the centre, all the phones going to the rooms were originally analog phones. So we had to make sure the old phone system and the new one could take on the phone lines itself, because it would be too much money to buy. It would cost thousands to implement VoIP phones for the whole business centre. So we had to do it in little small segments. So they spent a lot of money for a MyTel system in there. I mean, their old phone system took up 2 full racks of space. By the time we converted over to the new MyTel system, it took up half a rack of space. So one box, MyTel was the tool itself. Then the other boxes were literally the analog lines going in for the MyTel to connect to it. And one by one, we would buy new VoIP phones going into the newer rooms. and disconnecting and cutting away the old cable, so we delivered it by VoIP eventually to all the rooms. So that was a hard slog, because they had also a patch panel up on their wall, full of all the analog lines that came around the building into there. Then that will then go under the floor into the Mitel's little boxes that converted it back to the Mitel itself. Mitel was quite awesome. It had a really nice interface. You could control absolutely everything on it. We end up having lots of extra plugins plugged onto it. So customers were like asking us, saying, want voicemail, so we had that activated. They wanted to do speed dialing using software from the desktop, so we had that implemented. Then we implemented some management software that will manage the phone bills, where we were getting, we paid for all our 200 ISN lines going out for calls, all had like unlimited phone call packages on it. So we were restricted to so many thousands of minutes per line for normal and national calls, and we were restricted to 500 minutes of mobile phone calls, or mobile phone on each of the lines as well. So, but we would bill the customer at standard rates. So in theory, they were making tons and tons of phone calls. So we had a nice billing system that actually planned it one out, and we could tie it to each of the rooms, sign the handsets to each room, so we know the network generates a bill each of the month for them to invoice the client, and they made loads of money. We never ever went over our quota on phone calls. We had companies in there making sales calls every minute of the day. We had one typical company came in, took 3 rooms up, over 60 people, and they're on the phones every minute of the day, because that was their job. And we made a fortune from them. I think their phone bills were more expensive than any phone bill with all the office put together. So we made loads of money from it as well. And it paid for itself in theory. That was quite a nice system, that was. So when these guys here had the office next door, they had a Mitel system as well. And then when they come over here, we changed from the Mitel to VoIP because it was easier. They needed to be on the phones running that side as well as they move into this office. So we had to then make sure the lines here work. So we put the cloud VoIP from BT in here, and then once they're all over here, we turned that off, disconnected it, and ripped it all out basically. I had the Mitel back at my garage for a while. I was going to try and sell it on. By that time, BT wasn't even selling Mitel. I think they may still do it, I don't know. But it wasn't. I tried to sell it on eBay. Nobody was interested because it is quite a unique piece of kit. Unless you know the right people to talk to, we couldn't get rid of it. So I ended up just get throwing it away basically at the end of the day. But yeah, well I've finished here anyway. So it's now, what is the time now? It's like, cool, 9:30. Still get home and I can still get these VMs, at least set them up, test them from my connection anyway. Might do a couple other things on them first, to see if there's anything wrong with them to start with. I might move them onto another box just in case it might be the box that's sitting on that causing an issue. But at least we know it's the VMs, not the machines here. But we'll get them to upgrade the PC here and the switches. I've got a switch up here and a switch downstairs. Then Lucy know that'll be good for them for the next 3 years anyway. So yeah, because otherwise